Alright, so today I'm going to be driving in my New Balance shoes for the first time, which I am very curious to do, as I want to find out just how good or how bad they are for wearing when I'm driving. Will there be lots of pedal feel under my foot when wearing the shoes I'm going to be having on my foot today? Or will there be no pedal feel at all? I don't know, but I'm very excited to find out. When it comes to shoes, I like shoes that look good, are comfortable, fit me well, and I like shoes that have pedal feel to them. I don't like wearing shoes that have no pedal feel, so I'm really hoping that these New Balances do indeed deliver. They're skate shoes, so I'm thinking they probably will, but I don't know anything for sure. What are the shoes I actually have with me today, though? What are the shoes that I'm going to be driving while wearing for the first time? Well, let's go ahead and get my back door all opened up, and let's take a look inside my car at the shoes. So what is this first pair? Well, it is a pair of New Balance numeric Tom Knox 600s, which are a very nice sort of black leather with like some white and gray accents and a little bit of a beige or like I'd have to say yellowed white down here as well. Look pretty good in my personal opinion. I think these are great looking shoes. And this secondary pair is a pair of the New Balance numeric 22s, which I also think look fantastic. I think I'm going to start off with this pair. I think this is the first pair I'm going to wear during this video. But how good will both of these pairs be when I'm wearing them on my feet while driving? I don't know. Looking forward to finding out though. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start getting these shoes on my feet if I possibly can, so I can actually go ahead and, well, get to driving. I suppose I should probably get these on my feet now, shouldn't I? Now, I know it is a little bit of a disappointment to some of y'all. Y'all are not going to be getting any sock pics today or anything like that kind of thing. I'm not ending up on celebrityfeetpics.com. That is absolutely not happening. So I am putting these shoes on off camera, but do not worry. I will show you guys how they look on foot. I am just not showing me actually putting them on because hell nah, bruh. Hell no. There's too many people out there who want to see my feet, and I ain't showing. I ain't showing them. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Got one shoe on, just got to get the second one on as well. I tend to tie my shoes in advance and then just kind of slip them on every time I wear them thereafter. And so as such, I don't need to actually tie my shoes. I just had to get them on. And now they are on. I'm going to go ahead and real quick put my Adidas Superstars in my car so I don't leave those behind. And before I go ahead and hop in my 1985 Mercedes-Benz W123 300D Turbo Diesel Sedan, let's just walk around in these shoes for a minute and let's take a look at how they look on my feet as well. So how do they look on my feet? Well, I think, personally, they look pretty good. I think they look really good with these jeans, and I think they match the shirt pretty well kind of thing. Style-wise, I think they look fantastic. Are they comfortable to walk around in? I'd have to say they most certainly are, but one thing I'm noticing just right off the bat, there's definitely less feel under my feet of what the ground is actually like than there was in my Adidas Superstars. Now, I have had that pair of Superstars for the last, I want to say, almost year now, and I've been wearing them just about daily for that entire time. So the padding has definitely gotten a bit worn down, the sole has definitely gotten a bit worn down and whatnot, so I'm sure I can feel more ground feel and pedal feel through them than I could when they were new. But these, either way, these do still feel like there's just a little bit less ground feel under them. Like I can feel like a little bit, but it's nothing crazy. These are right on the cusp of being a little bit too padded for me, I will acknowledge. They are very comfortable to walk around in though. They're super comfy on my foot. They feel great. And there's lots of like mesh and stuff like that kind of thing. So my feet aren't warm at all. And in fact, they're actually significantly cooler than they were in my Adidas Superstars. But walking around in these, I'm not sure how much I'm gonna like driving in them, but there's only one way to find out. So let's go ahead and hop in my car and let's get to driving in my New Balance shoes for the first time. If I can get my camera set up and everything like that and get the bug out of the way. So let's go ahead and I don't really need to get my door locked. Get my seatbelt on. Keys are already in the ignition. I think I'm just gonna be driving around the park. Not gonna be driving anywhere too major. I'm just gonna come back here, and then my plan is to put the other pair of shoes on. But now that my glow plugs have gone, just like that. All right, feeling my ankle. Sometimes with like high tops and stuff like that kind of thing, sometimes my ankle can feel a bit constricted and a bit hard to move around when I'm trying to drive and stuff like that. Like driving in boots, I've done it before. Not really my personal thing, I will acknowledge, just simply because I like to move my ankle when I'm driving, to just move my ankle around to the different pedals and stuff like that. Right off the bat, these are definitely different. Now this happens every time when I get a new pair of shoes. There's just a completely different driving feel. I get used to driving in one pair of shoes, I switch to another pair and it's completely different. That's very much what I'm feeling right now with these shoes. I'm hoping to get used to them as I'm driving though, but I think I am probably gonna take a right out of here and just go around the park once. I'll go around the park again if I need to, but just putting my foot on the brake, I can definitely tell it's there. Like I have a pair of boots and I'm just kind of like, man, I can't even tell that I am pressing down on anything besides the fact that there's a little bit of firmness right there. But I can actually tell that I'm pressing down on something with these shoes, but definitely not to the degree that I can with my Superstars. As said though, granted, my Superstars, I have been wearing them for just about the last year now, and I've also gotten used to wearing them. I definitely see with these shoes right off the bat, there's definitely not as much pedal feel as there is with my shoes I was just wearing before I put these on. However, I'm slowly getting used to them. I say slowly, it's only been like 3 minutes since I put them on and like a minute since I started driving, so I guess it's more like quickly getting used to them, but I am getting used to them. Nothing too crazy by any means. I definitely have to say it's harder to judge, at least right now, since I'm not super used to driving in them. It's kind of hard to judge exactly where the pedal is, and so I'm having to keep an eye on the speedometer just a little bit more. With the other shoes, I'm so used to driving in them that, man, I don't even have to look at the speedometer. I just know exactly where my foot is, and I know exactly where the throttle is and everything like that, so I know roughly how fast I'm going and stuff like that. With this, on the other hand, I have an even more rough idea of where my foot is and everything like that kind of thing. It's even more rough than it is in the other pair of shoes I was wearing before this. I would not call these shoes that have the most insane driving feel in the world by any means. Ooh, nice motorcycle. That was a sweet ride. I don't even know what that was, but that was pretty nice. And definitely when braking, I'm just braking for a speed bump right now. Definitely when braking, a bit, I just can't exactly tell where everything is. I'll acknowledge. Now, it's not a big deal. I don't mind driving in these shoes right off the bat, and I think I will get used to them as I continue to drive in them more. So these are certainly not shoes that I would never drive in again by any means. I've got a pair of boots that I refuse to drive in ever again. I drove in them like twice, and I hated it both times. I never got used to it after having driven for like an hour and a half total. It was hell. I hate driving in boots, at least in this car. If I was driving a truck, I'm sure it'd be a different story, because trucks are, like, I think designed to be driven in boots, honestly. But there just wasn't enough room for my leg in the like the pedal area and stuff like that kind of thing. The boots were way too big for that. These shoes, I'm not having that issue. I'm not having that issue with these shoes at all, where there's like not enough room for them, or like they're like too big or something like that kind of thing. That's not a big deal by any means. It's more so just the fact that while I like the fact that there's a lot of padding in these shoes, and it is very comfy, these shoes are very comfy due to that padding, I will acknowledge, there is also the issue that I am just able to feel less the pedal. Now, I have certainly worn shoes, not the boots, but actual shoes, that have less pedal feel than these. But this is certainly on the upper end of no pedal feel. I definitely think that these would be better than, like, hiking shoes or something like, let's say, like, I definitely think that these shoes are better than something like, let's say, a pair of Keens or a pair of Merrells or something like that kind of thing. But, I'm going to need a little bit more driving time, I'm thinking. I'm going to need a little bit more driving time, I'll acknowledge. But, let me just showcase them in the footwell real quick. I don't have a footwell cam set up, but, yep, just right there. Right like that, no biggie, no biggie. But overall, yeah, I gotta admit, just thinking for a moment, not driving, not trying to think while I'm driving. Sometimes when I'm thinking when I'm driving, it gets a little bit hard to think and drive at the same time. So just kind of sitting still for a moment. There's definitely, I gotta admit, with these shoes, there's absolutely less pedal feel than with my Adidas Superstars. And I think there's less pedal feel with these being new than there was when my Adidas Superstars were new as well. It's just harder to tell exactly where the pedal is under my foot. Like, I can tell, but it's just slightly, it's marginally harder to tell. And it's also harder to tell exactly where the pedal is as well. Like, I can still feel it under my foot, but not to the same degree I can with the Adidas Superstars or with other shoes I've worn in the past, I will acknowledge. Overall, when it comes to shoes that I would consider to be driving shoes, these shoes you can drive in, but personally, these, at least right now, maybe as I get used to them more, as I drive in them more in the coming weeks, at least with these shoes as they are right now, with how I'm feeling about these right now, these are not shoes that I would want to take around a racetrack or something like that kind of thing. If I'm going around a racetrack, I want a pair of shoes that I can really feel the pedal under and stuff like that kind of thing. I want a pair of shoes that is going to be fantastic to drive in. This pair of shoes, I can definitely tell I'm absolutely going to get my money's worth out of it. Really comfy, really good walking shoes, and the position that the heel puts my foot in when I'm driving is actually very comfortable as well. So just for driving around casually, these shoes are perfectly fine. They're not like nearly as bad as some other shoes I've tried driving in before. However, for like racetrack purposes, or if I really wanted really good pedal feel one day, these are not the shoes I'd want to choose, I will acknowledge. Overall though, I'd have to say the New Balance numeric Tom Knox 600s, on a scale of 1 to 4 for how good a shoe is as a driving shoe, I'm gonna have to give these a solid 2. Solid 2. My Superstars would probably be like a solid, I'd have to say 3. And I'm honestly expecting the other pair of shoes I have with me today to be a 3 as well, because there's just not quite as much padding under the foot in those, I will acknowledge. But I have driven my car with a pair of 4-rated shoes in the past when it comes to driving shoes, and that was a pair of Adidas Sambas. Still, I gotta admit, my favorite driving shoes of all time. Adidas Sambas are fantastic to drive in, and it's easy to see why there's no padding at all, honestly. And that's really the main thing with these shoes. They just have too much padding. Like, yes, they're really comfortable to walk in. That's amazing, and yes, you absolutely can drive in these shoes for your commute. That's not going to be an issue. However, these are personally just shoes that, if I was to take them around a racetrack, I feel like I would do better with other shoes. And shoes as part of your driving attire, I feel like are kind of underrated. I really do feel like they are. I feel like a good pair of driving shoes can really make the difference between a car that has a good driving experience and a bad driving experience. You can drive a car that you think has a bad driving experience because there's no pedal feel, and all of a sudden you change your shoes and it has an amazing pedal feel now. Of course, it's going to depend shoe to shoe and car to car, but that is my personal opinion. And overall, when wearing these shoes, the pedal just feels so much more mushy under my foot. Like, not that the pedal in this car is particularly not mushy to begin with, I'll acknowledge. This is a Mercedes from the 1980s. It's not a sports car. This is not an AMG model. It's a diesel Mercedes. It's not a sports car. The pedal is meant to be mushy. It's a luxury car. However, nonetheless, the pedal definitely feels more mushy under my foot when I'm wearing these shoes than when I was wearing the Superstars, and that is without question. But as said, these shoes, I will absolutely drive around in them, no issue. And I think the more I break them in, the better they're gonna get to wear under my foot, and the better they'll be as driving shoes, in all honesty. I've only worn these, I think, like once. As said, never driven in them before, so I haven't really broken these in at all, and that's probably part of the issue I am experiencing today. But, yeah. You know, honestly, not the greatest driving shoes in the world. There's certainly better ones out there. But for commuting, these will absolutely do. These will absolutely do. And these are skateboard shoes. I like skateboard shoes because I just realized I had that on my floorboard. I don't know for how long. I'm going to put that in my ashtray real quick. I don't know how long that was on my floorboard, I'll acknowledge. But I like skate shoes personally because with skate shoes, you can kind of feel the ground a little bit more. With like non-skate shoes, I feel like they're not as durable and you can feel the ground not as well sometimes. But with skate shoes, a lot of times there's really good ground feel. That's what I like about skate shoes. If you're a skater and you're looking at a pair of shoes that you want really, really, really good ground feel, I don't think these New Balances are going to be quite what you're looking for. I don't think they're bad shoes. In fact, I think these are really good shoes for what they're designed to be, which is, in my opinion, not a pair of shoes that is meant to have a lot of ground feel, but you can still kind of feel what you're doing through it, but you have to feel it, not know it, kind of thing. Some people go on feel, some people go on know with skateboarding, and with driving, of course, as well. We've all got our own personal preferences. But these, the New Balance Numeric Tom Knox 600s, they're not bad driving shoes. They're like a 2 out of 4 in my personal opinion, / like a 3 out of 5. Well, no, I'd have to say 2.5 out of 5. They're not bad driving shoes by any means, but personally, as said, I wouldn't want to take them around a racetrack, and for that, I would want a pair of Adidas Sambas. Or maybe the next pair I'm about to wear. Maybe they'll be amazing driving shoes. I don't know. Let's go ahead and get the shoes I'm wearing right now off, and let's find out just how good the next pair is. So the next pair I'm going to be wearing are my New Balance Numeric 22s, which look fantastic in my opinion. I think these look great. Let's go and put them down on the ground and get these on, you know what I'm saying? Let's get them on. I think it could also be due to the different insoles that are in these. Like the New Balance Numeric 600s have the Ortholite insole, whereas these have an Absorb insole. I don't know exactly what the difference is, I'll acknowledge, but I'm sure there is a difference. I figure there would be at least. Just trying to get these shoes on. They're a bit tighter on my foot. I tied them a bit tighter, so they're a bit more difficult to get on my foot, I'll acknowledge. My main concern with these shoes is that y'all can see how the tongue itself is a little bit sort of tooth-like, I'll acknowledge. I'm afraid that when I'm driving and when I'm bending my ankle and stuff like that, that tooth-like tongue will eat into my ankle, which will not be very enjoyable, I'll acknowledge. But don't know until you try, so let's try. There we go. Got the shoes on, no complaints on my behalf at all. Just gonna go ahead and fix my socks, fix the tongue, get everything all comfortable and whatnot. You know, I like to make sure my shoes are comfortable before I start driving. And yeah, right off the bat, not even having really walked around all that much in these shoes, I can just tell immediately that there is significantly more ground feel. These shoes are definitely more, I'd have to say, feel-oriented rather than comfort-oriented. Like, these are still comfy shoes, without doubt. No question in that. But they definitely are more ground feel-oriented, and just walking across this parking lot, I can feel not everything that's going on. However, I can definitely feel more of the rocks and pebbles and the concrete under my foot than I could in the last pair of shoes that I was wearing. So I definitely have to say, I think that these are going to be better driving shoes just initially, and I think they will have better pedal feel. But will they be as good as Adidas Sambas? I don't know. Let's see how they look though. Let's see how they look. overall, you know, I think they look pretty fire. The nice red with the dark jeans, I think it looks fantastic. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. I really like how these shoes look, and just walking around in them just for a minute, I'll acknowledge, I don't think the toothy tongue is gonna be as much of an issue as I thought it was going to be, because while when I first put them on, the toothy tongue was kind of digging into my ankle just a little bit, now that I'm walking around a little bit more, it's not nearly as pronounced, and it's honestly kind of going away. Maybe I'm just breaking them in just a little bit more than they were. I haven't ever actually worn these shoes outside of the house, except on the back porch of where I live. I haven't actually worn these shoes in any real degree, I will acknowledge. So these are even less broken in than the last pair of shoes that I wore, I will acknowledge. But yeah, no, definitely better ground feel with these shoes, just right off the bat, and I'm thinking much better pedal feel is going to be the fact of the matter with these. But let's find out, y'all. Let's find out. But before I go ahead and get my car on, I want a sip of water, because I'm needing some. Alrighty though, y'all. Without further ado, let's go and get my car back on. Alright, and just right off the bat, I would definitely have to say this is significantly better pedal feel. I wouldn't say it's quite up there, just initially, with the Adidas Sambas, but it's definitely of comparable, like, pedal feel and ground feel to the Adidas Superstars, which I have right back there, which were the first pair of shoes I was wearing today. Let's go ahead and get to going, though. I'm just gonna make a very similar loop around the park once again. Oh yeah, wow, these have way better pedal feel. Oh my God. The last pair of shoes, man, compared to these, I mean, like, as said, the first pair of shoes that I drove in during this video, it's not like it has the worst pedal feel I've ever had, but certainly it's nothing insane, and I said I wouldn't want to take them around a track. These, on the other hand, they might not have quite as good of a pedal feel as something like, let's say, a pair of Vans. There's a bit too much cushioning for that, and there's definitely a bit too much cushioning for them to be anywhere near the level of a pair of Adidas Sambas. However, they are definitely better than the New Balance 600s, the New Balance numeric 600s. Sticker right here once again. Oh yeah, oh yeah! Yeah, these are great to drive in. These don't even need a brake in. These are great to drive in. Dang, yeah. No, these are lit. No, those are fire. Yeah, the other pair I could definitely say I think those are definitely meant more for just comfort and walking around with not a lot of like ground feel and stuff like that. These are definitely much more ground feel oriented, and you can just tell through the pedal feel very easily. You can very easily tell through the pedal feel that these are definitely, ooh, nice camera. You can definitely tell just through the pedal feel that these are much more ground feel oriented. And I will acknowledge, I absolutely like driving in these shoes more than the other pair. I can just feel the pedal that much more. It makes driving that much more engaging to me. And I just find them to be better shoes to drive in. Yeah, the New Balance numeric 22s, honestly, very solid to drive in. As said, not as good as like a pair of like Vans or something like that kind of thing, even with the Ultra Cush padding. And definitely not as good as a pair of Adidas Superstars. But definitely solid nonetheless. Definitely solid nonetheless, without doubt, I will acknowledge. Cracking my thumb. Which way do I want to go? I'll go this way. Nice dump trucks up there. Yes, sir. Can't complain, can't complain. Some tractors as well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, this is nice. I can actually really feel the pedal through these. Like, like, my car doesn't currently have working cruise control, I'll acknowledge. And so while I think, like, the first pair of New Balances I wore during this video would be fine for, like, driving around in and stuff like that, I certainly wouldn't want to go on a road trip with those as my only pair of shoes to drive in, I'll acknowledge. Just because, I mean, like, if I have cruise control, honestly, I would be fine with it. But with no cruise control in this car, I now have to really be good at I'm getting words all jumbled up. I have to be able to easily figure out exactly where my foot needs to go for certain speeds and stuff like that, so I can automatically adjust my foot for hills without even really thinking about it. Which is something I've gotten better at over time, but you kind of have to relearn it just a little bit every time you get a new pair of shoes, which isn't a big deal unless they have a lot of padding. The last pair of shoes has a lot of padding, and I think it would just be a lot harder to tell exactly where my foot is in the pedal to really be able to do that very well. This pair of shoes, on the other hand, not a problem. So with the last pair of shoes, honestly, I would absolutely take them on a road trip, especially if I was doing like hiking or walking or something like that kind of thing, whenever I get to my destination. But as far as it goes for actually driving, I wouldn't really want to drive them all that far, just simply because if I want to use cruise control, they're going to be hard to do cruise control with my foot, I'll acknowledge, because there's so much padding. This pair of shoes, on the other hand, there's pedal feel. Like, I can't feel distinctly where the pedal is actually at on my foot. I kind of have to guesstimate where it is. Like, I know where it is. I don't generally put my foot on the pedal unless it's centered, I'll acknowledge. But I do still have to guesstimate a little bit, just because I can't feel exactly where, like, what the outline of the pedal is. It's not quite that good. If it was that good, it'd be a 4 out of 4 for a driving shoe. And that's very much how the Adidas Sambas are to me. I swear I can actually feel the outline of the pedal through the foot. It feels even better than driving barefoot. That's how good Adidas Sambas feel to me when driving. Not joking. Not trying to gas up the Adidas Sambas too much. They're just the best driving shoes I've ever used. I'm sure there are better out there. And I do suppose there's like a reason why, like Formula One drivers, you look at the shoes they're wearing, and it looks like boxing or wrestling shoes or whatever, like the really tight ones to your foot are. They really do look like that, in all honesty, and it really does make sense, because you don't want, you want to wear shoes, but you don't want to have a lot of padding at all. And so the best driving shoes are going to be the ones with nearly no padding. And so it makes sense why, like, Formula One driver's shoes are, well, just that, shoes with basically no padding, I'll acknowledge. Overall, though, the issue I thought that I thought might be an issue at the beginning of this video, or not at the beginning of this video, sorry, when I first put these on, that being the tongue kind of going into my ankle just a little bit, not an issue. I can move my ankle back back and forth just fine without getting it eaten into by the more sort of toothy tongue of the shoe, I'll acknowledge. That's not an issue, and that's something that is very good in my personal opinion. And I definitely think as I break it in, it was biting into my ankle a little bit, just the tiniest bit when I was walking around. Not much, though. It was pretty much starting to really go away. I think as I continue to break them in, it's going to go away completely. It's just breaking stuff, I think, is really the case with that. But yeah, overall, I gotta admit, the New Balance numeric 22s, not only do they look really cool in my opinion, I think the suede looks amazing, but also they're great driving shoes. I definitely would say that the New Balance numeric 22s are worse, absolutely are worse, walking shoes than the New Balance numeric 600s, the Tom Knoxes. I definitely say they're worse walking shoes. The ones I'm wearing right now are. But by far are they better driving shoes, without doubt. I can actually feel the pedal. I can feel where the pedal is under my foot. I can't really feel the outline of the pedal per se, but I can really feel distinctly how much pressure I'm putting on the pedal. Overall, for driving shoes, for shoes that are like good for driving, I think the New Balance numeric 22s deserve a very solid 3 out of 4. They're not quite perfect. They're not quite the best driving shoes of all time, but they're definitely up there. And these are shoes that I would love to drive while driving, frankly put. The other shoes, they're okay. I'll drive in them. They're not the greatest things in the world to drive in by any means, but, you know, they'll do. But these, on the other hand, man, oh man, no complaints on my behalf. Very comfy to drive in. They look great as well. No complaints on my behalf. And overall, as said, New Balance numeric 22s, solid 3 out of 4 when it comes to driving shoes. That's my personal take. That's my personal take. And honestly, yeah, I think these shoes are good enough to, if I was going to a track day or something like that kind of thing, not that my car is, not that I'm really sure I would want to take my car to a track day in all honesty. I kind of want to, but I don't know if I want to do it in the condition it's in right now, just because I don't know what kind of condition all of the, all of the mechanicals are like. I don't hoon it most of the time, but taking it around a track, I'd want to go around fast. I don't want to break something on my car and then have to get a tow truck home. Or break something on my car and then it crashed because something broke. That wouldn't be very good. I'd want to check everything out before I do that. But, you know, if I was to take my car around a racetrack, the New Balance numeric 22s, if I wanted to wear a new pair of shoes around the racetrack, these would be the pair of shoes that I'm getting my words all jumbled up. These would be the shoes that I'd be wanting to wear around the racetrack, not the New Balance Tom Knox 600s, I'll acknowledge. Overall, it has been a very fun time driving in my New Balance shoes for the very first time today. Just how good or how bad were the shoes that I drove in? Well, both are good shoes, but not both are good for driving in. Or amazing, well, one pair is good, one pair is like pretty mid. But both pairs are not like horrible, let me put it that way. Overall though, I've had a great time today. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little bit of a different video. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of rate shoes as to how good they are to drive in, just for fun. Something I've never done before on this channel, and it's probably going to be a while until I do this again because I don't buy shoes all that often. But I had a lot of fun making this video. It was really interesting to talk about, something I've never really talked about on camera before, which is how different shoes affect your driving and how good some shoes are at driving when compared to others and stuff like that. It's a topic that I think there's a lot that you can really go into depth with. And honestly, I think we're just on the tip of the iceberg right now, frankly put. Shout out to Noriyaro, Alexi, for somewhat giving me the idea for this video. He posted a video a couple years ago where he was driving in like the iconic like Initial D New Balances and stuff like that. So he was drifting in like the iconic Initial D New Balances. And it's been a couple years since I watched that video, but when I bought these New Balances, I was like, you know what I should do? I should see how good they are to drive in. So I had to do it. Shout out to Noriyaro. Go check out that video, you know what I'm saying? And it was a lot of fun to make this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. To the next one, stay safe and peace, and have a great one. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying?